program is, for instance, if we have a road we want to keep well maintained, and we assess sources of revenue within the road and say, okay, these sources of revenue, you assess them and ensure that you deploy them to the maintenance of this road for this duration. All we do is to monitor. These are all the packages we are putting together to ensure that funding is enough to collaborate the input from government annual appropriation and ensure that road maintenance doesn't suffer unduly.
In other words, you're saying there is already an arrangement for the public-private partnership, or the PPP. Now, people will say, is Nigeria really ripe for this? I mean, considering the fact that not too long ago, we had the issue of the concessioning of a federal road, talking about the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway to by Courtney. Somehow that didn't really work out. What can you say about this?
I think the issue is not about being ripe. As a matter of fact, ours is road maintenance programs, and that was a full road rehabilitation and reconstruction program by our parent ministry. And I will give it to the current minister. All that has been streamlined, reorganized, and re-awarded, and the work is in progress. So I assure you that this current administration of President Goodluck Jonathan have been able to straighten out the issues. It's not being ripe, but the policies, and then of course respecting the mutual relationship of PPP. That's a test case, but it's progressing. I'm very confident and optimistic that the current program will work out successfully.
Let me take you to the Niger Delta region in the South-South. I know there's been efforts by the present government to ensure that the roads there are rehabilitated or reconstructed and all of that. But from your standpoint, what has been in the works, in terms of road maintenance from FERMA?
Works in the Niger Delta area, I must tell you, are quite challenging. For instance, it is in the Niger Delta area, especially towards the coastal plain where you have the mangrove vegetation and mangrove area, that you have the black cotton soil. And road maintenance and construction activities are quite challenging because rather than access lateritic fill, a lot of the time you find contractors doing sand fill. And sand fill is more expensive, and the technology to get a sand fill done before you put a permanent pavement takes some time. It is time dependent. So the cost of fixing roads in the Niger Delta, the areas that are challenging, is high.
What do you mean by lateritic fill? I mean, to a layman, how would you explain that to them? How will they understand?
In a road pavement structure, you start with what we call the subgrade, but the alternative that takes place in the core area of the Niger Delta that is expensive and requires a lot of technology is the sand fill. The sand fill is done either hydraulically. You pump sharp sand from the river area to fill the road and allow it to consolidate, compact well, and of course stabilize it and pave. It is different a little bit from when you need to just take material tested from the borrow pit. So that's the difference I was trying to emphasize, and that's what we call lateritic fill and sand fill. The sand fill you get from water, sand fill you get from the locations deposit of tested sharp sand. You can get it by pumping and by excavation mechanically. And you place it on the road and allow it to consolidate and settle and compact, stabilize it in and pave. So you see that those are the processes that makes the execution of road projects in the Niger Delta more complicated. Yeah. So that's the difference, lateritic fill and sand fill.
What is the best time for FERMA officials to carry out whatever work they need to do, maintenance work on the federal roads?
Currently, because of that challenge we have to ensure that we're on the road all the time and all hands on deck, we have programmed our work in response to the environment. For instance, in Lagos, Kano, and some areas that are very busy, you find FERMA working with full light at night because of transport. Traffic that will be too much, during the day. So, and other areas that you can walk during the daytime, where you don't have a lot of interference, we also handle them at the daytime. So The other thing you check with respect to maintenance programs is the season of the year, the dry season and the wet season. As it is with construction, maintenance is more effective during the dry season. And that's why I said at the beginning that our programs included to ensure that all through the dry season, all FERMA engineers are on their toes, ensuring that road maintenance is at its peak. So that's the seasonal difference, works during the rainy season and works during the dry season. The other is work during the night and works during the day. If, for instance, you're going to put the big box culverts on a road that traffic must not be stopped, you design it in such a way that you do half of it and transfer traffic to the second and the first half. And as soon as you are through with the length completed, you return traffic and then open the second half of the culvert. That's how it is even in the urban area that is very built up and busy.
Now, in 2014 alone, let's narrow it down, to some of the geopolitical zones, road maintenance generally. What would you say has been the achievements of FERMA on this issue?
Yes, thank you. I took you through that at the introduction stage, and I told you that in all these 6 geopolitical zones, our activities are ongoing. If you're doing a fresh road construction, new road construction, you would have specific length of road to be built in kilometers. And if you build a given percentage in length, it's measurable. But if you have a road maintenance to be done on the entire stretch of a road that is saddled with failures, all we do in FERMA is to take them in sections and then repair the failures in areas. For instance, if you have a washout, what we call a washout is during the rainy season, the road shoulder is attacked and then the entire road is reduced into half. We intervene at that location and fix the washout, reinstate the road. And these are all done by FERMA, not in kilometers. But you can see that if a washout is not attended to, the entire road is no longer motorable. So these are the kind of responses. So in the north, we'll have lists of several roads that we have maintained in the northwest, in the north central, and the northeast, and of course in the south, southwest, south-south, and then southeast. In the southeast, I've given you examples of, the roads from Onitsha to Owerri that we have kept well-maintained, motorable, and safe. The road from Bauchi to Gombe, there was a major rainfall that took a long duration of about 6 hours, and at the end, several buildings were submerged and the road was completely severed. And it was aired. The next morning, FERMA moved in. Now we introduced about 3 cell box culverts and they've been fixed and the road is now motorable. So these are the things. It's not generally quantified in kilometers because it's not a new construction. It's a function of what challenge we have and what is required to be done that we have done.
Now take us through some of the challenges experienced by FERMA, especially in terms of the strategies employed by the workforce.
With respect to challenges, apart from the fact that you never have enough flow of funds, for road maintenance, which is a huge responsibility, handling 35,000 kilometers or more of roads. We have that and we cope with it by distributing what we have to cover the demands. The other one is to also say that the challenge of response of the workforce, to our initiatives and strategy was there initially, but that has been overcome because we have done a lot of seminars, workshops, and training, and a lot of people have adapted to the demand of this new management and government. So those challenges have been surmounted. The other one is the season. We have work season like I have explained. If you need to do a lot of work during the dry season, the funding architecture should favor the dry season. If you do annual budget to support road maintenance and road work activities, it is proper that funding is available as early as September, as we step into the dry season, to have full time to work into March of the next year. The issue of stopping operations in December and stop funding in December, whereas we're in the peak of the dry season. We have complained. The public have also responded that this needs to be reviewed. And I'm optimistic that federal government and the legislators are working on it to see that road works are encouraged, promoted, and funded all through, the dry season. And of course, with respect to funding challenge, we are looking at other sources of generating revenue to support roadwork activities without depending entirely on annual appropriation. For instance, if you're driving into neighboring countries around Nigeria, you're going into Niger, you pay what we call international transit charge for moving into another country. But people drive into Nigeria free of charge. FERMA is looking at that. It's already a provision in our act, amended act. We're looking at the possibility of ensuring that international vehicle transit charges is put in place.
Now, before I let you go, engineer, let's look at 2015. What are the projections? Could be in the short term, the medium term, or even in the long term. What are those things that you really want to see, done in 2015?
In 2015, the agency as an organization want to ensure that, one, the roads that are in good motorable condition are made to remain so. Two, the roads that are in fair condition are improved upon by resurfacing and then other repair measures. Three, the roads that are motorable are made motorable as much as possible within the period. So in 2015, all these aspects of intervention will be kept on top gear.
Well, I guess we'll have to draw the curtain there. Engineer Gabriel Achomiwe, thank you so much for spending time with us on Question Time, and we appreciate you. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you again.
Engineer Gabriel Achomiwe believes government isn't unaware of the risks posed by the poor condition of all federal roads and highways. And we are hoping that the management team of FERMA will continue to take up the challenge of getting them fixed or repaired wherever they are discovered across the country, because it's what is expected of them. Well, that's our package for this week. Please send your questions, comments, and suggestions to questiontime@channelstv.com, or you can also watch us online via channelstv.com. That's on our YouTube platforms. I'm Ayotunde Balogun. Until I come your way again next time, it's bye for now.